And we're live. Good morning, everyone. This is Katie with NLFX Professional. I have DJ RyanO here out in California, and we are going to have a quick chat about what you've been doing. So, Ryan, tell me, who are you? For those that don't know who you are, who are you?
Well, I am what I call a boutique mobile DJ. I've been DJing for 26 years. I'm an absolute music lover and an entertainment lover. And I've been based here in the Bay Area, kind of Northern California. So for those that are all across the country, shortly right outside San Francisco. And I would say a mobile DJ. I'm a single op, and probably the way to characterize my business, Katie, is I've got three lines of business. I'm a DJ and a host. I'm an entertainer, and I'm an auctioneer. And sometimes I do one of those three things. Sometimes I do all of those three things, and we can certainly talk about that. But I got my start, let's say in the mid '90s in New York. In fact, on a radio station in upstate New York as a music director, and then became a program director and did overnights back in the days, kind of when Nirvana and Foo Fighters and Pearl Jam and kind of the alt grunge scene was taken over. I decided to hit the airwaves and was in radio for quite some time on a regular basis, about 5 days a week or so. And then over time, kind of got more into the early 2000s in the club scene, played clubs all over San Francisco and Vegas and Miami and a lot of different places. And then finally settled down and got married, and that program sort of went out the window. And I've been a mobile DJ focusing on private events since 2004.
Okay, very cool. So my question for you, Ryan, is what are you doing now? I know that you have some really interesting things going on, so I want to talk a bit about that. You had mentioned mobile parties. So tell me more about that. How did that idea come about? Where are you at now? How did you market it? That sort of stuff.
Yeah, so absolutely. And the answer will take a little bit to explain. So feel free to get me up. And happy to answer questions from folks out there. And I'm pretty excited about it. So down in the comments section, right? Mm-hmm. I would say in late March, I started this other company called Drive Up DJ, and I think I was the very first with that name, and I'll talk about it in a second. But it came out of discussions with folks that you know, so Rob Foray and another guy by the name of Graham Silver. So Rob and I were chatting, and Graham was chatting, and Rob was doing a similar concept, but a bit different out in Utah, and then Graham Silver was doing something in Southern California. And the idea was we figured out how we can bring entertainment to the streets. I'm not much of a hey Howie, I'm not much of a virtual DJ, but I really like the live piece of this. And so the concept was how do we get out into neighborhoods? And so we all kind of chalked. And then what I did in Northern California was I started offering this service for free. And I did a blitz one weekend where I did about 30 parties. But when I tell you the word parties, it's not just me showing up and playing music. It's not just me showing dances. It's basically I outfitted my SUV with a mobile broadcast studio, thanks to a lot of equipment I've purchased from you and Ben and others at NLFX. And so everything is battery operated. My speakers are wireless. I use transmitters, and I put speakers throughout neighborhoods, and all wireless. And then I show up, and it's always different. And I lead the neighborhood through sometimes different dances, birthday parties, anniversaries, street parades, car parades, the whole 9 yards. But again, it's very high energy and interactive, all socially distant. And so that I did about 30 or 40 parties in one weekend, all for free, about 30 minutes a piece-ish. And the news media got wind of it. So I had camera crews from Fox Bay Area and CBS and ABC, CNN. They covered me for weeks on end. It was actually pretty cool. And then we started to, myself and Rob Foray and Graham started to kind of share thoughts. And there were some things on the Kids and Family event forum. And I think Howie may have been in some of those calls. I'm not sure. And then from there, I continued to do this, and it continued to blossom and build. And I got what's called, I would say, mommy influencers. So mothers who are in Facebook groups who have me come to do birthday parties. And so what I've done now is I've curated, I would say, dozens and dozens of socially distant games and ideas. Like, for example, You take the typical name that tune to Disney movies, and I have people draw scenes from movies with chalk on the ground, and the kids have to guess those movies. And so I basically, to this date, am busy about 4 or 5 days a week, going out and doing 1 hour to 2 hour, sometimes 45-minute birthdays from 2 years old all the way to 70. And I combined entertainment with DJ. And so I do some comedy, I do some music, and I can talk more, and I'll stop there. But it has been a way that I've been able to thrive and survive and basically launch a completely different business, which is not stopping at all in this COVID-19 time.
Sorry, my dog is like freaking out over here. I don't know if you heard him growl, but he is not friendly to strangers. So he's like at the door and there's people walking by and he's sitting there growling at him. So I apologize for that, guys.
Should I bring my Siberian cat to the screen?
You could. So Ryan, my question for you is, are these paying gigs? I don't know if you mentioned that because you did say you did the first 30, 40 free, but how did they transition into the paying gigs? Does that have to do with like the mom influencers?
Yeah, so good question. So the whole concept at first was purely to bring people together, to bring community together, and I really wanted to give back, and I still do, but that's what started that. And then the thing is that the requests started to come in for very customized asks, like, hey, you know what, my son or daughter is having a birthday, and we need you to be here tomorrow at 2:00 or 3:00. And so at that point, this whole concept of let's bring communities together with 20 houses on their neighborhood and honoring first responders kind of just pivoted, which was fine, to if it's something that they're asking me to do, like my son or daughter is having a birthday party and we were doing princesses and tiaras and we want you to come do a theme to that. That's a very different ask. And so it sort of evolved over time, especially as, shelter in place restrictions change and so forth. People have started to ask me come into backyards and do graduations. And we're talking 40, 50, 60 kids in large areas spread out. And so those kinds of things require a lot of effort. These are 2-hour engagements, sometimes 3-hour engagements. And so I do charge right now. And I charge a decent penny because it's not just coming and playing music, it's actually entertaining. But I'll tell you, one of the things I think for this group that's really cool is with the equipment I've used, whether I go into a backyard or not, I've been able to get the setup down to less than 5 minutes and the teardown less than 5 minutes because I'm using small wireless speakers. In fact, the Maui LD5 Go, which I know you guys have on sale right now, is a fantastic.
Yeah, we have these stock ones.
It's fantastic. I mean, I'll use that tonight. I did a party last week. It was a 30th birthday party. We had about 15 people. I brought that up. I set that up on a deck. I put myself about 30 feet away, socially distant. I use, I've got a whole branded clothing line right now. I've got these branded face masks that I use. So I'm able to make money on every gig that I go out and do right now.
Have you had anybody wanting to do a wedding this way?
I would say I have not gotten a request yet. And partly, I think there's a couple of reasons. Although I have looked into micro weddings, and I've actually am launching a separate company that's going to be all about kind of backyard toasts type thing. But I think the reason I haven't gotten a request is because I think when people think about this brand that I've created, this Drive Up DJ, they think more about street party, street parade, birthday, graduation. If I and I put the word advertising quotes, if I go to Facebook and I say, hey, this concept is now going to be expanded to other types of engagements, I believe I would get some requests, but I haven't yet formally.
Do you see yourself continuing this for the long haul? Because I know a lot of people have come up with ideas to fill time with the COVID situation. So do you see yourself doing this for a long time out?
Yeah, so great question, Katie. The answer is absolutely, and I'll tell you why. I think it takes a special kind of approach in an individual because it's not just. In fact, the DJing piece of it is actually very little, and we can go into that. But a lot of it is is the entertainment and the engagement with either children or adults. And so what I've been able to do is take, before COVID, if I were to do a backyard birthday party for a 9-year-old or whatever, for whatever reason, I would go and I'd bring my whole equipment and the whole 9 yards, and I would charge quite a bit of money because it was a lot of work. Now I've got it down to a quick setup, quick teardown. And not only am I thinking this is going to live far beyond COVID, I actually think I have a completely different business line. I mean, I'm thinking of launching kids entertainment hours, where in the summer, kids are home from camps at about 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. Parents want to do something like a happy hour in the street and they want something to do with their kids. I can entertain, groups of children in the backyards or whatever. So I actually think that while the application might change post-COVID, meaning I could go into houses or things like that, the whole concept, 100%, I think that I've got really good demand pull to keep it going, because the reality is that things are starting to open up in California, and I'm busy every weekend with 6 to 7 gigs. The other thing is, if it's done well, I can actually make more money by doing 4 gigs or 5 gigs in a day at 1 hour each than I can doing an 8 or 9 hour wedding.
Okay. So if somebody wanted to get into this, what advice would you give them? What's the first thing you would tell them?
The first thing is they got to do it because they want to do it, because I think these kinds of gigs require a lot of passion from the heart. They're a lot of work. And you've got to be able to understand your audience. A lot of your audience who's going to hire you, if they're going to hire you for a birthday, for a kid's birthday, for an adult birthday, they're looking for more beyond just the straight music. So that would be one piece of advice. The second piece of advice is you got to have the right gear and equipment. Hang on. Yeah, I'm busy. I think my kid's bugging me, but you got to have the right gear and equipment. And so invest. This is not normal. Hey, what's up? This is not normal. Daddy's on a podcast right now. Yeah, I see. Come here. You want to say hi? Yeah, I think my daughter wants to show her new line of clothing.
Oh, let's see it.
Yeah, I got these shirts for my kids here, so that they have branded shirts.
Very cool. I love the cat ears.
Yeah. All right. So the other thing is the equipment has to be on point, and it's got to be small. It's got to be wireless, and it's worth the investments. And then the third thing is you got to have content. You got to have an agenda to differentiate yourself. So it's kind of grown over time, how I've gone about these. But yeah, that's what I'd give. That's what I'd say right now. So
what would be, aside from having passion, gear wise, what gear are you using?
Yeah. So good question. So first thing is wireless transmitters. So the Sennheiser wireless transmitters, I use those day and night. And that's so that I can broadcast from my car, and I can put speakers anywhere. So that's one piece of gear. Second gear is everything's battery operated. So I've got lithium ion batteries that battery power my Yamaha mixer, that powers my Sennheiser microphones. And I carry wireless microphones on me, like headsets. It's kind of like what I tend to use. The third thing is power supplies. So having like a big Duracell or an Engine Star power supply. The fourth thing is you've got to have speakers that are wireless enabled. We talked about the Maui LD5 Go. I've got about 6 different kinds of wireless speakers. I've got Behringer Euro ports. I've got the Maui LD5 Go. Sometimes if I'm dealing with 100 or more people that are like in a large field, if you will, I'll bring in the EVs that I bought from you guys. Those are not wireless, so those would require power. But everything, there's no wires, meaning those aren't portable, but everything is wireless in terms of broadcast. Then the other thing is a lot of times, because I'm performing in streets or in crowded areas, I've got traffic cones. My traffic cones are branded. I've got barricades. My barricades are branded. And so it really is a whole production. I sell masks. I sell balloons. I sell all kinds of things. And then I've got battery operated American DJ bubble machines. If I'm doing a party at night, I bring my battery operated lights, and I believe you guys have had some specials on some of those as well. So, I mean, I could go on and on and on, but it's a significant investment in equipment to do this kind of thing the way I've done it with reliability.
So I would say for everyone to look at their gear and see what they have, and then see what they need from there. Is that good advice?
Yeah. I mean, the good thing is I had a lot of this stuff, and so I bought some things here and there, but as you well know, because I have a lot of conversations with you and Ben on Messenger, I've bought a lot of stuff over the years, and I've bought really great quality stuff, and I it's funny, I'm using some of the microphones I use for usually the Sennheisers, blanking on the ones, but that I would use for wedding receptions. Yeah, the G-board, that I would use for wedding receptions, and they'd get 40 uses a year. That thing's gotten more mileage in this application than it ever has, and they've held up extremely well. I'm trying to think if there's other gear. Obviously, in terms of what I DJ off of, I use Virtual DJ. I also use, actually, I bought from you recently the Newmark i2 DJ2 to go, that little board.
The DJ2.
There you go. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that is fantastic. Right. And a lot of DJs out there might be saying, well, how can you DJ a party? I got to tell you a couple things. One is, these parties, people are not looking for the music mixing master in the world. I did a dance party last week for 2 hours on that thing, and that's what enables me to get in and out. And I can mix just fine, right? I mean, you don't need to be doing a whole lot, but I have that set up in the back of my trunk, or the back of my SUV, with my computer. All runs on a battery, and it's just amazing. And for, I think you guys sell it for, I don't know, $135, whatever it may be. That price point is just fantastic.
Yeah, it's under 100. So, Ryan, my next question for you is, you kind of touched on how you got into the industry, but have you always wanted to be in the industry?
Yeah, so I would say yes. In fact, I'll tell you the story. I think I was in high school. It might date me in the 90s, and Ryan Seacrest was in fact a DJ on Star 98.7 in Southern California, where I'm from. And I had a call with him, and I was live on the air because I won some tickets or whatever. And I would always try to win tickets, and then I would ask him questions about it. And at that time, he was not an American Idol host. No one knew who he was. I don't even think I knew who he was. But I had a huge passion to want to get into the industry. And I started in ways like many others did. I played in a bar. After I did the radio, I played in a bar making less than $100 a night. And I've certainly worked my way up until I was able, and then I worked for a multi-op as a DJ. But yeah, I mean, this is my absolute life. I'd rather do this than golf, go on guys trips, or do anything. In fact, this is really what my wife lets me do to have fun. But yeah, it's an absolutely great outlet as well. As many DJs know, just the feeling when you see, even now in these times, when I show up at people's places and they just start laughing, and it's mainly just for an hour. It's awesome. I mean, tonight I'm doing a 40th birthday party, and then I'm doing a 50th birthday party, and I just do those back to back, and they're so different, but they're so cool. So yes, I've always wanted to be in this industry.
So with that being said, what is the best business advice you've ever received?
I think it's to be your authentic self. And if you are your authentic self, good things come out of it. And don't try to be, and the reason I'm saying that is because there's so much DJ training out there. There's so many ways to make your life easier as a DJ and do this and do that. And, you see so many folks, okay, I'm going to spin this online and do that. And at the end of the day, if you got to do you, right? And I think I may have taken that quote or something like that quote from Rob Ferre, but he's awesome and a great mentor. But you got to be who you are. And I think being who you are will carry your business more than you trying to project who you are or trying to be someone else. And that's why, these calls are great. We can share experiences, but I've seen many folks out there that have tried to replicate. In fact, I've trademarked the Drive Up DJ name because it's me. It's an entertainer. It's a DJ concept, and I didn't try to be anyone else, and that's why I think this has been pretty successful.
I like that answer. Be yourself.
Yeah.
Guys, if you have questions, write them in the comments. We have a few more minutes left here. Now, Ryan, I don't know if you've watched my broadcast before, but every week I have a final question. My son, Jackson, who is 10, gets to ask it.
Sorry about that. I had some blank out. I'm back.
Oh, weird. That's okay. No worries.
Did you have a blank out too?
I did not. Mm-mm.
Oh, that's weird. I don't know exactly what happened, but that was weird. Anyways, I'm here.
That's okay. As long as you can hear me, we're good.
Yep, I got you.
All right. So the question that I ask is this week, it is, what is the best way to eat an Oreo cookie?
Ooh, the best way. So best way or most entertaining way to eat an Oreo cookie?
That's open to interpretation, I think.
All right. So I like challenges in my life. And so now that could also be interpreted. Maybe does he like to do things the hard way? No. But the way I don't eat Oreos very often, but there's two ways. I'll give you two answers. One is the typical contest where you try to put it in your eye and get it down. The other way is that I like to eat the Oreo is using Oreo's record player. I don't know if you know this, but they came out with this Oreo cookie record player, and just taking a normal bite of the Oreo, then putting it back on this Oreo record player plays a different song. And in fact, Michael Joseph turned me on to this last year, and I ended up buying one of their collector's editions. So when I eat an Oreo cookie, it's either challenging myself through my eye, or it's just taking a bite and then putting it back on this Oreo record player. And it's the coolest thing. They had them on Amazon. I think I have it floating around here. I can show you a picture of it. But that's my answer. In fact, do I have it here? Let's see. Is it here? It may be here. I actually think it is. And this is the Oreo cookie box. And so you take the Oreo and you put it on here. I don't have an Oreo. And then you put this thing here, and it actually plays music. And this is the branded Oreo music box. Have you seen this?
I have not.
Yes, this is a collector's edition. I can. There's some videos out there on YouTube about it, but yeah, it's the. Oh, yeah, you didn't think you were gonna get that as an answer. And in fact, Katie and I did not rehearse this. I had no idea she was gonna ask me this question. But there you go.
I thought you were kidding. I thought you were being a smart ass kidding.
You thought I was kidding, and lo and behold, I bring up the actual real Oreo cookie box turntable. It is the coolest thing in the world. I don't even think you can get them anymore. But you can actually scratch on the Oreo cookie, and as you take bites of the Oreo and you put it on here and you put the player the handle back, it plays different parts of the song that you're on.
That's very cool. I like it.
Yes, no smart ass there. That is the real deal.
All right, guys, that's it for today. Make sure you join us next week. Thank you, Ryan, for joining me today. I appreciate it. Make sure you follow him on his Instagram, which is
DJ RyanO, just one word. And you can also go to driveupdj.com or djryano.com if you need more info.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. We'll see you next week.
All right. Bye, Katie.